Join ABF Fam in Apple Podcast to listen to African Folktales with Miss Jojo 1 week early before everyone else.
ABF Creative.
Hello, my little ones. My name is Miss Jojo, and you're listening to African Folktales. Hop inside my magical jeep with me as we explore African lands where animals talk and people fly. Are you ready? Get in! Make sure your seatbelt is on. The only thing we want to let loose is your imagination. Let's set the destination for our next story. Here we go! Hang on! Today, our magic jeep takes us to learn why the moon isn't always full every night. Make sure to listen closely for the bell. The bell will ring when I say the magic word of the story. Listen all the way to the end to discover if you guessed the magic word right. There was once an old woman who was very poor and lived in a small mud hut covered with mats made from the leaves of the palm in the bush. She was often very hungry as there was no one to look after her. In the old days, the moon used to come down to the earth. Although she lived most of the time in the sky, the moon was a woman who was round with skin that felt like leather, and she was full of meat. She was so large and in the night used to give plenty of light. The moon felt sorry for the poor starving old woman, so she came to her and said, "You may cut some of my meat away for your food." The old woman did this every night, and the moon got smaller and smaller until you could barely see her at all. Of course, this made her give very little light, and all the people began to complain and ask why the moon was getting so thin. At last, the people went to the old woman's house where there happened to be a little girl sleeping. She had been there for some time and saw the old woman go out with her knife every night and carve her daily supply of meat out of the moon. She was terrified by what she witnessed and told the people all about it. So they decided to spy on the movements of the old woman. That very night, the moon came down as usual, and the old woman went out with her knife and basket to get her food. But before she could carve any meat, all the people rushed out shouting, and the moon was so frightened that she went back again into the sky and never came down again to the earth. The old woman was left to starve in the bush. Ever since that moment, the moon has hidden most of the day. They scared her so bad, she still gets very thin at least once a month. But later on, she gets round again, and when she is quite round, she gives plenty of light all night. But it doesn't last very long, and she begins to get thinner and thinner, in the same way as she did when the old woman was carving her meat from her. Wow! What an amazing revelation! This is where half moons and full moons come from. It's very important for us to pay attention to how our actions are affecting other people. The last thing we want to do is to take away their light. Did you hear the bell? Did you discover the magic word of the story? If you said hidden, you are right. Hidden is another way of saying the word hide. When something is hidden, it is currently out of sight. Sort of like the magic that's inside all of us. We can't see it, but we know it's there. You could say it's hidden. Thanks for taking this trip with me today. I can't wait for you to travel to the next story with me. African Folktales is produced by ABF Creative. To learn more about the show, go to abfc.co/folktales. If you loved this show, then tell someone you know. Our magical Jeep journeys are more fun when you can bring your friends along. Thanks for listening. Bye!